Hello and welcome to the Garden. I hope and I pray that you're having a good day. And I know that over the course of the last several days, we've had a lot of intense weather down here in South Louisiana and also South Mississippi. A lot of freezing rain, ice, snow, and even up in the excuse me, northern part, of the state. And my brother he got snow over at his place, and I've seen pictures from all over. And there's just a lot of snow and ice on the road, and unfortunately, I have seen several wrecks. I do want to say that let's continue to be safe. I know there's still a lot more cold weather that's on the way. If you have not already subscribed to the channel, I would encourage you to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I would appreciate that very, very much. There's been a lot of good things happening today in Mississippi, and I want to congratulate Mr. Commissioner and Wayne Carr, Commissioner DeKeither Stamps, and also Commissioner Chris Brown and Chairman Chris Brown on their job well done today. And they had their very first docket meeting for the Public Service Commission here in Mississippi, and I think they did a great job. And there is Commissioner Carr, Commissioner Brown in the middle, and then Commissioner Stamps, and they did a good job today. Commissioner Carr is the Southern Public Service Commissioner. Then you have Commissioner Stamps. He is the Central Service Public Service Commissioner. And then you have Commissioner Chairman Chris Brown, and he is a Northern Public Service Commissioner. And today, they really did a good job. And so I really appreciate those men. I know that probably a little nervous, being the fact that was a first docket meeting, and they voted on a lot of great things and several decreases that people will begin to experience very soon whenever it comes to their bills. And so just a good day for them. Also today, and the governor signed into legislation they called a special session, and they finalized a historic $1.9 billion economic development project. It's going to create 2,000 jobs with an average annual salary of $66,000. And so thanks to our legislators, those in the Senate, those in the House, thank you for taking swift action. And that was a Facebook post that the governor, put out. And I just want to congratulate the governor and all of these men and women that have been working extremely hard and to make this possible and to make this happen. And they did a good job. Also, I saw and read today where Joe Biden is not going to be on the ballot in New Hampshire. I mean, how does this happen? How are you the sitting president of the United States of America and you are a Democrat and you're not even going to be on the ballot? That is, excuse me, that is absolutely insane. And but there it is. I mean, he's not even going to be on the ballot in New Hampshire. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, we the people, you and I, and we must do everything that we can. We must work and do everything that we can. We must push back. We must fight back to take back our nation. And as you see some of these things that the president is trying to accomplish and trying to do, and people like Nancy Pelosi and AOC and many of other these people that are in D.C., they're just leading our country on a straight shot to hell. And we have to push back. We have to fight back. And we the people, it's very, very important. And I just want to ask you a question. Are you engaged? Are you pushing back? Are you involved in what's happening in our nation? Are you tuned into what's happening in your capital, not just in your state, but also the capital in Washington, D.C.? There are some people that are there that are doing everything they can to destroy this nation. You have this woke agenda, this woke movement that is trying to sweep across our nation. They're trying to brainwash our children. They're trying to do everything in their power. Joe Biden would like to do nothing more but than to destroy the minds of our innocent children. They want to pump this nonsense about these transgender garbage in their brains. They want to pump this nonsense into their innocent little minds. And they're going to do all that they can to do that. And that's why we, the people, you and I, we must push back and do everything that's in our power to keep Joe Biden from being reelected in 2024. That's why we need to get to the polls and the primaries and begin to build that steam and to getting ready for November. If you haven't already subscribed, I would encourage you to do so. And I like to ask a couple of times throughout the video and to get people to subscribe, and I would appreciate that very much. As I've said many, many times, your vote counts. Your vote counts. And so let's get out and let's vote and let's do everything that we can to make sure that Donald Trump is the nominee. I made a video the other day and I talked about the president, and some people didn't like it because I was calling for Nikki Haley and DeSantis to drop out of the race. Listen, they lost by 30 points in Iowa. 30 points. President Trump set a record with the highest percentage of votes in Iowa. He set a record by defeating the next person by the most points, by 30 points. Listen, I appreciate Governor DeSantis and Nikki Haley, running for office, running for president. I appreciate that. I think it's an honorable cause, to put your name on a ballot, and I think that's very honorable, and I appreciate them doing that. And they have every right to stay on the ballot. I mean, they don't have to drop out and nominate and endorse President Trump. They don't have to. They can stay on the ballot as long as they want. If they want to keep spending the money, they can stay on the ballot. But the point is, when we're in the shape that we're in, and Donald Trump was president, right? He was president. Joe Biden is president now. Donald Trump is leading in the polls by double digits in nearly every single state. He just won Iowa by 30-plus points. He got over 50% of the vote, and there was several candidates, on the ballot. He got over 50%. Okay, it's time for Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis to drop out. It is time for them to drop out. It is time for them to endorse Donald Trump, and let's beat Joe Biden moving into 2024. Why do we want to keep wasting all this money? Why are we going to keep causing Donald Trump to spend all of this money that could be spent to defeat Joe Biden? To me, it is just selfish for Nikki Haley and for Ron DeSantis to continue down this path. And that's why you and I, as we the people, we need to do everything we can, to push back. And let's call, every one of us, let's call for Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis to drop out. And Vivek Ramaswamy, he dropped out. You saw his speech. He was with Donald Trump in New Hampshire. And so that's what the others need to do. They need to do the exact same thing. I read this the other day, and this is unbelievable. You have all of these illegal immigrants coming over into America, and it's like the federal government's not doing anything to stop it. It's like Joe Biden is in Washington, D.C., and he's asleep at the wheel, and here you have thousands upon thousands and thousands upon thousands of people coming into our country illegally. Now, let me just say this. I am not against immigration. I am not opposed to people coming to the United States of America. Just come legally. Come legally. I am for it. Listen, if I lived in Mexico, or if I lived in Nigeria, or if I lived in wherever, it wouldn't matter where I lived, whatever country I lived in, if I was living in another country and I was married and had 5 children, and I'm married and I have 5 children, and I'll show you a quick picture, of my family, that's my wife and my 5 children, and just say we lived in Mexico or we lived in another country, I'm here to tell you that I would do everything in my power to get to the United States of America. This is where I would want to come. This is where I would want to be to raise my family. This is right where I would want to be with my family and raise them here. And I would do everything that I could in my power to get here, but I would come legally. I am for immigration. I'm just against illegal immigration. And Joe Biden, with his do-nothing agenda when it comes to the border, is actually helping people come into our country illegally. And so what did Texas do? Texas did what Texas ought to do, what any state ought to do that is bordering a foreign country. We're going to take our National Guard, we're going to put them at the border, and we're not going to let you come in. We're going to stop you from coming into our country illegally. Now, if you want to come, you come legally, but we're not going to just let you keep coming across our border illegally and coming into our country. We don't even know who these people are, but yet Joe Biden is in D.C., he's asleep at the wheel, and they're doing nothing to prevent this from happening. And so I like this, Texas Attorney General defies Biden's administration's border access demand. They said absolutely not. We're going to continue to stand at the border. We're not going to let these illegal immigrants continue to come into the United States of America, but we're going to stand for what we believe in, and we're going to protect our people. I stand with Texas, the governor, 100%, and every governor in the United States of America should be standing with Texas and pushing back against these illegal immigrants coming into our nation. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, if we're going to take back our country, it's going to start with we the people. Listen, it's not going to start in Washington, D.C. It's going to start with you. It's going to start with me. It's going to start with men and women all over Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Texas, Maine, Maryland, Oklahoma, California, South Dakota, North Dakota, Iowa, Ohio. It's going South Carolina, North Carolina, West Virginia, Virginia. It's going to start with men and women like you and I saying enough is enough. We're going to stand for freedom. We're going to stand for liberty. We're going to push back against this woke agenda that Joe Biden is trying to push down our children's throat. And we're going to say, we the people have had enough. We've had enough. And we're not going to allow this to continue to happen in our great country. So I want to ask you a question. What are you doing to stand for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? If we're not careful, we will get this apathy just creeping into our party, and this apathy creeping in among conservatives saying, you know what, I'm tired of fighting. I'm ready to throw in the towel. I'm ready to quit. It is creeping in our churches. It's creeping in all over the nation where dads are saying, I'm done fighting. I'm tired. Moms are saying, I'm tired. I'm tired of fighting. And where even our young people are saying, I'm tired of fighting. And conservatives are saying, I'm tired of fighting. And our pastors are saying, I'm tired of fighting. And our good conservative elected officials are saying, I'm tired and I'm done fighting. No, you can't be done. You got to get back up, take a break, take a night off, get you a cold drink of water, and relax a little bit. Get in your Bible, get on your knees, and ask God to give you wisdom and give you strength and get back in the fight. It's going to take men and women like you and I all over this nation saying, enough's enough. We the people, we're going to push back, we're going to fight back, and we're going to say no. We're going to say no. Now, you and I might not agree on every issue. And I'll admit, there have been times that I have come across, a little bit probably in not a way that I should. And so I try to do better, and I'm trying to learn, I'm trying to grow, whenever it comes to the things that we believe in and the things that we hold dear as Republicans and as Christians and as conservatives. And so we're going to continue to push for these things. We're going to not compromise. I'm not going to apologize for what I stand for. Now, there have been some times, to be honest with you, that my delivery hasn't been very good. And even tonight, I've gotten a little excited about some of the things that I talk about, because whenever it comes to our children, we're going to lose our great nation. We're going to lose our country if we're not careful. And so, yes, I get excited and I get pumped up, and I'm ready to push back, and let's continue to push back, and let's stand for the things that we believe in as conservatives, as Christians, as Republicans, and let's say enough is enough. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue to stand. I'm going to continue to push back. And you and I might not agree on every issue. We might not agree on how we should push back. We might not agree on or even on some certain policy. But even whenever it comes to policy, my main thing is I just want to be left alone. I want to see economic growth, and I want the government to be cutting taxes and cutting red tape and making it easy, for job creation. And that's one of the big, I stand for a life of the unborn child. I got into an argument yesterday with a guy who wanted to try, he tried to tell me he was a Republican, and he's like, I'm a Republican, but I'm pro-choice. Are you kidding me? I mean, that is, he tried to say he's for abortion, but he's pro-life. Are you, what? That's what he said. He said, and I kid you not, he said, he goes, I think a mom ought to have a right, to terminate a pregnancy, but I'm pro-life. If you believe it's okay for a woman to commit murder, you're not pro-life. I mean, you're the exact opposite of pro-life. And so don't try to convince me that you are a Republican, first off, and then don't try to convince me that you're pro-life whenever you're for a mother murdering the child that's in her womb. That is absolutely insane. I am pro-life. I am pro-economic growth. I am pro-cutting taxes. I am pro-legal immigration. I'm pro-Christianity, pro-God, pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment, pro-Constitution. I mean, I am all of those things. So what do we need to do? Continue to push back. Continue to push back. Say, we the people have had enough. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to let our voices be heard. We're going to shout it from the rooftop. We're going to get on Facebook. We're going to get on Twitter. We're going to get on Rumble. Somebody messaged me last night and said I need to do things on Rumble, so I'm going to do a Rumble. We need to get on YouTube. We need to get everywhere we possibly can. I don't believe we are to leave certain platforms. I believe we need to stay on these platforms. Whenever you leave the platform, listen to me very carefully. When you leave the platform, what happens? That void gets filled by the exact opposite. And that's what's happened in our country. Christians said, we can't be involved in government. We got to focus on this and focus on that and focus on this. And it hasn't helped our churches. I mean, crying out loud. What's happened is, look at the government. That Christianity void has been filled by non-Christians. And I'm so thankful for the Christians that are engaged and involved today and that are standing for truth and that are pushing back. And our government today is full of those type of men and women, and I'm so appreciative of them. But we have to continue to push back. It's important for you and I as Christians, for we the people, to fight back, to push back. One of the best places to do that is at the ballot box. So let's get out and vote. Let's make sure that we get our friends and family to the polls. And let's make sure, hey, some of you need to consider running for office. 2025, you're going to have a lot of city elections. Maybe some of you need to consider running for city council. Maybe you need to run for a mayor. You need to give it some thought, give it some prayer. 2026 is coming back, and there'll be a lot more elections. And then 2027, a lot more elections. Maybe some of you need to pray and consider of getting involved. Maybe running for office, helping somebody on a campaign, contributing, knocking doors, making phone calls. All of those type things, which I think is very important. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for watching The Guardian. If you haven't already registered or if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do so. Please go and subscribe to the channel. I would appreciate it very much. Share, help us get out, help us get out our conservative message. Thanks for tuning into The Guardian. I really appreciate it very much. And God bless you. God bless the great United States of America.